Hello fellow Star Wars fans, it's Star Raptor here with another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon. You know the drill, every week I break it all down for you guys, from the comics to the TV series, to the novels, and to the video games. And this week we have quite a bit of stuff to get through, so let's start, of course, with Star Wars Rebels. We are in the middle of the fourth and final season. We have 2 more episodes to talk about for this week. We have both The Occupation, which is episode 5, as well as Flight of the Defender, which is episode 6. So The Occupation has the rebels returning back to Lothal, and things have gotten a lot worse. And then we carry over from that episode to Flight of the Defender, where Ryder Azadi, who has been, resisting the Empire, has found out about this new TIE Defender elite, and the rebels are going to try to get some information out of that. And what happens is basically Ezra and Sabine are on that mission, and they encounter the Lothwolf. And I'm not going to get too much into this because I have my reviews up on the channel right now, spoiler heavy of course, so make sure you check them out. But that wasn't the only thing we had for TV with Star Wars this week. We also had 4 new shorts of the Forces of Destiny. So we have Crash Course, which was basically between Ketsu Anu, and we have Sabine, and we have Hera. And I really didn't like this episode at all, guys, because it was very pointless. It was basically like Ketsu is crashing a speeder, and then the rebels trust her to go on another mission with their brand new speeder, and she comes back with the handlebars, and that was basically the whole episode. The next episode was a little bit more better than that one. Accidental Allies, again, with Sabine, and of course this episode is back, one looks like Gorel, which is featured in Rebels Season 1, and we have Sabine, and we have Jyn Erso coming together, and actually interacting, which is really interesting, seeing a live-action character interacting with Sabine. And it was just them running around, not much of a plot, of course, because these are little 3-minute shorts. Another one we had was the Happabore Hazard. This is another one with Rey and Daisy Ridley voicing Rey. And I think that Daisy really puts her all into this animation. And she does a great job with the Millennium Falcon episode that came out a couple weeks back, and does another great voice performance in this one. And the final one we have here is called An Imperial Feast, and this one was my favorite out of all of them. And what really excites me about this is it really shifts the canon forward, because we do find out that Hera Syndulla survived the Battle of Endor alongside Chopper and the Ghost, and you actually have this great interaction between Han Solo and Hera, because Leia asked Han to basically get these rations from Hera because the Ewoks are getting hungry, right? They're about to eat these stormtroopers, and Leia's like, we're not going to have that. We got to get some rations from the Ghost. And that's when you see Han meeting Hera, 2 of the best pilots in the galaxy, and Hera pretty much makes Han say that the Ghost is the better ship than the Millennium Falcon. So I thought that was great, and now I have this headcanon where I see the Ghost flying around the Battle of Endor around Death Star 2, and it's just fantastic. So we know that they got all the way through the original trilogy, at least both Hera and Chopper, but where is the rest of the Ghost crew? Well, we're going to have to watch the rest of Rebel Season 4 to figure that out. Now, moving on to more of the written form of Star Wars. First thing I want to talk about is we have Star Wars, The Legends of Luke Skywalker, is written by Ken Liu, and I haven't actually finished reading this, and I'm about maybe a chapter in here, and what I can tell you is this is the most far-fetched Star Wars story released in canon so far. And I knew this going into it, because what this story is basically about is you have these kids that are on this ship, and they're going to Canto Bight, which is a new location in The Last Jedi, and to pass time they're basically getting their elders to speak of stories. And the one kid brings up Luke Skywalker, just like Rey, how in The Force Awakens she's like, Luke Skywalker, I thought he was a myth. And that's basically the whole basis for this book here, is we have these tall tales, these legends, these fables, whatever you want to call them, very, not very true. There might be certain aspects to them. For instance, there's one character in here that thinks that Luke Skywalker cut down 20 AT-ATs at the Battle of Hoth with his lightsaber alone. And then somebody said, no, I thought it was 200. Another person said, oh, didn't he beat the parsecs? He did less than 12 parsecs for the Kessel Run, and they're like, no, it was like something else. So they're really skewing the history that we know of Star Wars. And the one chapter actually was about the Death Star not being real, and about how it was all this propaganda. And Luke Skywalker used to be part of this little troupe of comedians called the Old Kenobis, and it's just really far-fetched with the stories I've read so far. But there is a little bit of truth to some of the stories I've read, so I can't wait to dig into it. And not only that is because this is a very nice presented book. I really like the design of the book, the pages. There's some great illustrations in this one. So I'm going to do my best to have my review for you guys, hopefully up sometime next week. And the final thing I want to talk about is we have Darth Vader number 7. As you guys know, if you're watching the weekly shows I post on here, I really love what they're doing so far with Darth Vader series written by Charles Soule. And they're doing it again. We have a brand new arc. This one is called The Dying Light Part 1, and I just love that arc title. It just sounds so dark because maybe we're having the rest of Anakin Skywalker die along with to become born as Darth Vader. But it is more in tune with what I will say about what the plot is going to in this one. Is we have Darth Vader, who is now the leader of the Inquisitorius, who are the cadre, or whatever you want to, the group of Inquisitors that we see in Star Wars Rebels, right? So we have Darth Vader, and he's taking on this leadership role. And, the Grand Inquisitor is the one that kind of answers to him. And we do have Palpatine, who kind of sends Vader on this secret mission that the Inquisitors don't really know about, is to discover the whereabouts of Jocasta Nu and actually not kill her, but bring her in alive. But at the same time, this story does a great job of cross-cutting between what's going on with Jocasta Nu. And she's off on her own with some kind of companion, and they're trying to restart the Jedi Order. And in the meantime, she has to go back to Coruscant, currently where Vader is, to the Jedi Archives to get one last thing that's very important for the survival, I guess, of the Jedi Order. So getting down into the nitty-gritty of this comic, I want to say, first off, that the beginning is just awesome. You see Vader just like, he has no mercy for these trainees. And he is just taking off limbs here and there saying, hey, you'll live. You'll forget about that, or you'll remember that, sorry, and that's why you can't let your guard down kind of thing. So really cool seeing Vader just at his best, just being like nonchalant about just taking off limbs. Another thing I enjoyed was seeing the Grand Inquisitor kind of, stepping on the toes of Vader a little bit and really saying like, you should be leading us and all this kind of back and forth. And I'm like, man, this Grand Inquisitor, he really has, he's got some confidence going up against somebody like Darth Vader who just kicked his butt in the last issue, so like seeing more of that. Of course, Jocasta Nu. Now, this was a big thing because it's like, why is Jocasta Nu so important for the Empire? Because she holds all the knowledge of the Jedi Order, well, as much as there is left. So she's going to use that knowledge to restart the Jedi Order, and her mission is to go out and get the surviving Jedi to come back to the school. So it's kind of interesting because it kind of parallels with what we think might have happened in the time between the Return of the Jedi and with The Force Awakens, with Luke Skywalker trying to start a new kind of order of Jedi. So I'm really interested to see where she goes with that. And not only that, it's just seeing her parallel and like getting into the same place that Vader is in right now. And the fact that Vader actually can't kill him. It's so easy for Vader to just go up to anybody and just force choke him and, have no restraint in that regards. But to actually just go in and not kill a Jedi, which it's going to be very hard to see it's going to be interesting to see how he pulls that off, basically. It's just, how is he going to restrain himself enough to do that? One criticism I had about this issue, because overall the artwork was great, until we get to that companion character of Jocasta Nu. I don't know what's going on, but every time I see glasses in Star Wars, like, it just kind of takes me out of the experience. There was something like that last season in Star Wars Rebels with one of those little, like, commander cyborg things. But this is just like, okay, it's kind of taking me out of it a little bit with this guy with glasses. So it's going to take me some time to get used to it because they're really pushing this agenda with the glasses in Star Wars all of a sudden. Okay, so that's going to do it for another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon. But make sure you tune in next week where I'll be talking about the brand new Star Wars Rebels episodes, Kindred Spirit, as well as Crawler Commanders. And I will be talking about Star Wars number 37, which is going to change the pace of the Star Wars main series because we're going to have the brand new writer of Kieran Gillen, who also wrote the Darth Vader series in 2015, as well as Dr. Aphra. He'll be taking the reins over from Jason Aaron, who will be exiting, and we're going to have this great story starting off his new arc of Luke Skywalker on Jedha, finding out about the destruction of the planet after the Death Star, so that'll be super interesting. But if you guys are new to the channel, I want to welcome you. I have plenty of other Star Wars content, but I also have a lot of movie, TV, and gaming content on the channel, so make sure if that sounds interesting to you, you subscribe. It helps support me and it keeps you guys up to speed on all of the latest content. I'm Star Raptor. I want to thank you guys for watching, and bye-bye. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Star Raptor.